and then remind me to start recording. All right. All right, Joy, let everybody in, please. All right. All right. Special good evening to everyone. It is a pleasure to have you here. Today, I am here again on Making Moves, and we are so happy to have a special guest here with us, Roger Jackson. And Roger hails from Chicago. I just want to talk a little bit about Roger and tell you a little bit about who he is and what he does. All right. Roger B. Jackson is a Morehouse College alumnus. He is co-founder and managing partner of Independent Network Television. INTV works with artists and filmmakers by providing them with a place to create an outlet to distribute their work. INTV is the first production company in Chicago that provides distribution through their online streaming, www.indie.tv, while there are other independent production and post-production companies, non-provide distribution and advertising, right? So that makes them unique. And INTV provides filmmakers with exposure and opportunity. As an actor, Roger has appeared on Chicago PD, Chicago Med, as well as on local community theater productions. Roger has a unique position to have a relationship with filmmakers and artists, and he works with a lot of different personalities, cultures. So I'm very happy to introduce Roger. And for those of you all who are now tuning in, this is Making Moves, and I am your host, Stephen Edwards. And before we get any further, you know, we always put God first. So let's just open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you, Lord God, for this opportunity for the Caribbean to be showcased on Chicago. And I ask you, Lord God, to cover each and every one here. Lord God, those of us with dreams, those of us with purpose, those of us, Lord God, with just even a plan. And I ask you, Lord God, that you would just prosper us all. To Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Roger,
Yes,
so
sir.
good to have you, brother. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
You said everything. How do I add to that? I mean, what can I say? I'm also a father, a husband.
Well, should I start with that? If
You know,
you're
you know what?
a
I'll tell you what I
father.
tell my wife. I'm the best thing that ever happened to her. That's how great I am. The best thing. So and my wife's 4'11", so I got to get down on my knees and have that
Wow,
face-to-face
wow.
conversation. But and I'm
Okay.
6'2", so it's a
Wow.
little bit different.
Woo!
But no,
For
hey,
Christopher
I
Father send you a saddle boy.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly just a little bit about myself. My background is actually corporate America. I used to work for a company called Navistar for about 15 years. Before that, I was a caseworker. So I did process management. I was a process manager. Had the beautiful little accolades of reporting out to the White House and all that beautiful stuff.
Wow.
First Lady's office, Michelle Obama. But about maybe 15 years in, the company kind of offered every single individual a package. And when the company offers everybody a package, you take the package. So my
Right.
dad also walked this. And when he retired, we kind of walked out the same day. And I started acting. I got my SAG card. I enjoyed it. I got a commercial. I think it was Sleepy's mattress at the time. And it was funny because the commercial paid, I think, almost $7,000 for 3 hours work. And I told my wife, baby, we made it. And then I didn't get another job for 7 or 8 months, and I'm like, baby, we did not make it. This, this, I don't know what's going on. They
Yeah.
loved me at Sleepy.
The
And the
actors
commercial
struggle.
didn't even air. The company was bought out like 2 weeks after the commercial, so the commercial never
Wow.
even aired.
Wow.
So it was kind of exciting. But in that process, I met a gentleman named William Pierce. He had a project actually called Chirac at the time. We changed the name to This Is Not Chirac. It was kind of an anti-gang, anti-Chirac project
Right.
because Chicago was dealing with a lot at the time.
Right.
We sold out 7 to 8 theaters in downtown Chicago. We decided to do our own distribution where other business partner came up with Indie.tv. And we started
Right.
the streaming channel. And I
Great.
brought on the my other business partner, my brother, and we funded the project. I should say he funded the project.
Hmm.
And from there, we decided to kind of grow the business. My business partners have over, I think, 30 or 40 years experience in post-production, editing, filmmaking. William Pierce has
All right,
25 movies at least.
Roger, you had to slow down. Remember,
I'm sorry. I'm
it's a
sorry.
Caribbean audience you have there, right?
Oh,
So,
oh,
yeah.
oh.
Slow it down, Paddy.
So
Slow it down.
let me tell you about myself. As a young boy, I no, it's been a blast. I decided to go to the other side of the camera,
Mm.
and for two reasons. One, I like to be in control of the story. As an actor, you kind of really aren't. You're portraying the
Ah,
character there,
yes.
and also control my own destiny, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that was the other part of it.
All
But
right.
I got into it. We started producing some independent films for people. We just finished a couple of shorts, and then there's a challenge that we realize, especially most independent filmmakers make shorts, and
Right.
it usually comes down to budget.
Yeah.
That's what I can afford to do a good quality project. The
Right.
challenge is selling a short film.
Yeah. You can't
Nobody's really buying a
buy
short
a short
unless you can
film
put them all together and sell
together.
the catalog.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then you
Exactly.
might be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, I have some students here that we trained that we were able to train under Dove Simmons, and Dove always says that, I mean, you can't sell a short. So what he
Yeah.
specializes in is teaching you how to do independent films in 3 weeks. Now, we have a lot of persons who are interested not just in films, but on podcasts. And, I guess we all heard of the podcast that made it around the world, that broke the internet. And one of the things, there are two things there that I think that people are not seeing. And, I want to commend you for jumping ahead of the fence, because that podcast was 2 hours and 40 minutes long, which is the length of a very long movie. All right. And person sat down there and looked at that. It was on YouTube, which means that that person who would have put it up would have put it up for free. They have control over it. Let us look now conversely to Netflix. Netflix may have a 2 hour movie that they are going to pay probably some big director $100 million for, or $50 million for. And it's not free, right? And you remember, if I'm watching a podcast, I don't have time to watch your movie. So I am looking now at the whole climate where I think indie TV is in a very, very interesting ground, where you are allowing a lot of films, from all over the world, which was Netflix real trump before.
Mhm.
But you are allowing films from all over the world to come on your platform for free, right? In any type of, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a talk show, whatever format that is in, you have opportunity for that. Could you speak to that a little bit more on the indie TV side?
Yeah. The biggest challenge, and there's slightly sometimes a little disagreement amongst filmmakers, but the biggest challenge, honestly, for any filmmaker is, who are you? Or even a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Getting your name, getting your face out there. There are a lot of podcasts, because you can film them anywhere. But what I
Right,
have noticed is that at the end of the day, it comes down to content and generating that audience.
right.
Most people don't realize one of the very, very, I don't necessarily call it a podcast, but to me, it really was. There was one called Between Two Ferns, and it was
Yes.
an actor with a table
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
two
That
ferns on each
Galafuckus
side
or
of
whatever
him
his name. Yeah,
and nothing else.
yeah,
But
yeah,
because of his content, his questions, and also maybe a little bit because of his guest,
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
was able to sustain a very, very long run on that show.
yeah,
There
yeah,
are podcasts where people are literally sitting on a couch and just having conversations. Other people have extravagant sets.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, you need to generate the audience first. One benefit that we have, being a streaming channel, is that we allow people to put their content on there. We are not Netflix. I do not go out and purchase films and purchase movies and purchase
Right,
that. I allow them to put them on there. Unless somebody has a movie and it says, hey, I want to put my movie on there, but I want to rent it. I'll give you that option.
right.
We
Okay,
we discuss, negotiate something, that's fine. But they need to come in with that audience on there, because if you go that route,
mm-hmm.
and then now I'm spending money advertising it, then it's a little offset there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Obviously.
to build an audience, it to have it on that network to say, hey, we're on indie TV, that's a big
Right.
deal.
That's
It's a big difference than having it on. If I had a podcast that, hey, you guys can find me on rogerjackson.com, which is
right.
not diluting that, but if people don't know who I am, there's no
Exactly.
drive to go there. And also there's algorithms
Right.
that do that and that push
Right.
that. And that is the another challenge. You have to be aware of how to market your podcast, know your audience first. Who do
Right.
you want to see it to go where they are? Live from the
Right.
Cave. I have two shows, and I got to
Right.
be real careful how. Well, I should say that I have a few podcasts that are live. One of them goes extremely far. That's Live from the Cave, and because when
Mm.
you look down there, the host alone share it more than 25 times.
Right.
By the end of the day, when I looked at how many times that episode is shared, it's over 50, 60, 70 times because the audience starts sharing as well.
Right.
I have others that have a show, and it'll say it's shared 3 times,
Right.
but there's 5 hosts. So you
Right.
guys aren't even promoting your own thing.
You ah.
And so,
Yeah. Very
no,
good
so
point.
you have to be proud of yourself. You have to be proud of your own work. You have to encourage your audience to do the same.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the podcast is really good. You would have your own channel, your own name on there, and then you can kind of grow that audience. What is good with indie TV is if you choose to not just to put it, if it's depending on if it's live or if it's pre-recorded, we
Mm-hmm.
can always put it on our indie Facebook page as well and
Right.
say, hey, you got to check out this. And for all the other episodes, go to indie.tv and check them out. But we
Right.
loaded up first in front of our audience on indie
So let
TV.
me stop you there
Yes,
because you're
sir.
talking about recording, right? And having a pre-recorded show.
Mm-hmm.
The morning roast. What is that? And tell me a bit about it and
Okay,
what
so
it's doing.
the morning roast is the show that was developed from the same guys that did Live from the Cave podcast.
Right.
Um, I made promises to them that I would get them on television, hook, crook, or whatever. I'm going to get you guys on broadcast. You deserve that
By the
shot.
hook or the crook.
Hook or the crook, I'm gonna get you on there. And I
Mm.
shouldn't. I hate saying that because honestly, all it came down was me wearing out my knees praying. But the
Mm.
opportunity arose honestly, and it was just an opportunity that came up for us to be on WGN.
Right.
And once they saw our numbers, it was like, hey, you guys need to keep that up. But it is a pre-recorded show that we send the file to WGN, then they air it. And of
Right.
course, in there we put forget the young lady's name, but different businesses that say, hey, we need a commercial because the average business is like, if it's a major business, that's great. That's
Right.
great. There's some smaller businesses that are like, they're like just like an independent artist, it's an independent business.
Mm.
You can't afford, $20,000 for commercial space. No, but you can
Right.
probably afford about five because all of them don't have marketing budgets per se.
Right.
But if you have 500 or $1,000 and I can give you 30 seconds on the morning roast, not only are you on the morning roast for that day, but because it's transitioned over to indie.tv, it's a
Right.
forever commercial. I'm not going to
Exactly.
go back and take your commercial out
Put
of the feed
out
once I
exactly.
transfer it to indie.tv.
I love
So
that.
what
I
you're really
love that.
paying is for a forever commercial. It's great for them because they get the quick blast of exposure to Chicago, and then they have the regular exposure to the artists that always
So when
watch the
you say
morning roast.
Chicago, give us a idea of the numbers of for the views that you're getting right now.
So as so Chicago, when we first got there, that particular time slot initially was I think 750, 780, whatever for that time slot. Our very first episode we ever was like 1,600, then it was 5,000, then it was 10,000, then 15,000. Our last episode was over 30,000. We have well over 100,000 views for that show.
Right.
So
And this is on television, right?
yes, this is
This
on
is on
television. This is
television.
on television, and this is at a
So
time slot that is 4:30 in the morning on Saturday.
wow.
I have to set my
Wow.
alarm to get up and watch my own show. So and also look at the wife like, aren't you going to support your husband? Aren't you going to get up and watch it? She's like, you have it on your laptop. Yes, but it's not the same, babe. It's not the same. So, but also letting everybody know, we put out the two things we do. We have obviously a reminder on Facebook that says, hey, make sure you set your DVRs for 4:30 to get up and watch us on the morning roast. But we also have an email list that goes out to over 3,000 people reminding them, hey, make
Excellent.
sure you set your DVRs to do that.
Excellent.
So having that
Excellent.
that email list is great too, because when you go to change it up, which we had to do once, I think, and we had there was some issue at WGN, and they put something in there, then they flipped it, and our numbers dropped by like 5,000 or
Mm.
2,000, something like that. But because we have an email list, we just simply said, hey, we're back. That was on WGN. Don't worry about it, and it went back up, and the numbers
Ah,
just
So you
just
have
shot
that
up.
you have that intimacy with the audience.
Yeah,
So
engagement is huge. Engagement is really huge. When I look at people, and that's how I kind of judge things. When people say, "Hey, I'll do your social media," and they'll say, "Look at me, I have 500,000 followers," but
right,
on their last post, there were maybe 200 views, maybe
right,
50 comments.
right. So let's let,
Engagement is
let's
everything.
let's put a pin in it right here. The Caribbean is coming to Chicago. All right, people. We are now going to be storming Chicago. So for those of you, my American friends, when we say storming, it means that we're taking over, we're jumping on. All right. Whether you're prepared for us or not, we are here. So, guys, I'm very, very honored to have Roger, you know, come and talk about his platform and this opportunity. When we first spoke, he was very, very excited about it. And, I was really, really pleased to bring Caribbean content to Chicago. And this is why we here, you know, we talk about the morning roast, and that is actually being filmed right now. So now is the ideal opportunity for those of you all who may have talk shows, who may have television series, who may have, and for those of you all who thinking about it, we could talk about that right after. But for those of you all who already have things that are already recorded and you want somewhere to distribute it, you want somewhere for it to be seen, the Caribbean is coming to Chicago is a project that, Roger and I are working on to get as much Caribbean content on indie TV and also highlighted on Chicago TV. So it's not just an opportunity for you to just be on a platform. He spoke about the list of persons, that he can, reach out to. So now we can actually have Caribbean TV, out there in Chicago, and people will know who you are. So, Roger, tell me a little bit about, some of the opportunities that we could have in terms of, you spoke about advertising on the morning roach, on the morning roast. We can now have, little clips of, the talk shows and so on that we want to bring on in the TV on the morning roast. And,
Yes.
now is your time for filming. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So the opportunities are pretty large. One of the things that we can do, obviously, is we're promoting. I mean, we can open up our season. Hey, the Caribbean's coming to Chicago, and then we put clips of the filmmakers that or podcasts that have already decided to be on indie TV. We can put clips, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, highlights, or a reel together of that. But in addition to that, we can also have that individual. Now, this is what I have to make sure that we just redid our studio. We did a comedy show last week, so we added a bunch of TVs and stuff back there. But we can have that person on as a guest for the morning roast and highlight. Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about your cooking show. Tell us about your talk show. Where can we
Nice.
find you? How long have you been doing this? And that'll be the last probably 10 minutes to 15 minutes of the show that they would be able to build that up and do.
Right. So, and this is on Chicago TV. Guys,
Yes, it's on Chicago. There's a slight possibility, a
mm,
slight possibility. I'm hesitant to say it because currently we do air in Houston as well. This show
right,
is aired in Chicago and on the CW Houston. It's
right,
just season 2. We know we're going to do in Chicago. We haven't
mm,
made the decision yet on Houston. But if
right.
we do, then it is a really, really good opportunity to be in 2 decent markets, really nice markets.
I don't know about you guys, but I am very, very excited about this opportunity. One of the things that we've always spoken about in the Caribbean is not getting opportunities to have our content out there. So I don't normally do this on making moves, but I am going to open up for any questions persons may have. So if it is you're on the Zoom, for those of you all, I'm sorry, who might be following on Facebook, I would not be able to see it right now, but for those of you all on the Zoom, right, who have questions, you can put your hand up or you can put the question in the chat. But we prefer, to see you, and hear from you if possible. So for those of you who may have questions or things that you want to ask about, if you have a show that you're thinking about, um, we want to open up the line. So we have Pearl Williams here. we would like to be on a platform. What are the requirements? My morning show is Good Morning SVG, which is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? It's a 1 hour show Monday to Fridays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So what are the requirements to be on the platform?
So that for the requirements are actually very lenient. There are very few requirements. I mean, we're pretty lenient that we don't do a lot of vulgarity or anything like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I restrict that information, that content. But there are, as far as technologically, I have to see it first. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that I will look at somebody's project to look at the quality of it, to
Right,
see what it looks like. And it doesn't have to, I'm not saying you have to sit it with a film it with a 6K Blackmagic camera,
right.
but we do want it to at least to be able to tell people to go there that they see it, that there's a certain amount of quality to the visual of it. And then of
Okay.
course we'll look at the content as well. But
All right.
that really comes down to me visually looking at it, our team visually looking at it.
Okay, so those of y'all who are interested in coming on the platform, I believe many of y'all would have my WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp your information to me. All right. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Okay, so my WhatsApp number is 1-868-763-6603. All right. And I'm saying that for the Facebook audience because I don't know if anybody's watching on Facebook. So um it's
You know,
what
Stephen, if I can say one thing real quick,
uh-huh.
one other thing, if it's an hour show, does it have commercial break time? Because if the opportunity does arise, then we can swap out our show and plug in a show. Like you have a 30-minute or 30 minutes of your 1 hour show, depending on how it's made. So
Okay. Somebody asked that. Pearl, did you have that? Could you answer that? All of a sudden Caribbean people get shy. Nobody want to talk. Everybody want to type now. You understand? All my Caribbean people get shy. Nobody want to talk. All right. So I have some higher. Okay. Um, Pearl. Okay, just now we have a Headley there. A header, I see you.
no,
Pearl.
Pearl, there's no fee.
No, there's no fee. No, no, there's no fee. There's no fee to get it on Pearl. All right. And he said, if what do you have commercial breaks in your show, Pearl? He didn't answer that. Okay, so we go to Heather. Heather, I'll ask you to unmute. And could we see you, please? Prefer not to talk to a black screen there, but all right. Heather, go ahead.
Hi, good night.
Hi, Heather.
Excuse the head tie. I'm in my
That's
natural
fine. That's
sense.
fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
Right. I I suppose you would say I'm multi-hyphenate because I compose music, I do film, and I write as well.
Uh-huh.
Last year, no, I'm sorry, in 2020, we did a short on one of the national heroes of Barbados. Her name was Anne Gill, and she was kind of a rebel and a revolutionary fighting for the freedom to worship among the Methodists in Barbados
Mm-hmm.
during the 19th century. So we sent it to a platform called engagearts.org and we got a semi-final award. In 2022, we did a docudrama based on the same thing with a little bit of extension. What I'm aiming for now is a series, which is basically about the same character, but infused obviously with the other aspects of Barbadian life.
Right.
The culture, the what was normative, the social and political conditions and the slavery.
Right.
Is there a place for something like that? I've done other work as well, but I'm trying to focus on a series. The other thing which I did was infuse it with what is the Barbadian product rum. So
Okay.
in part of the script, part of the piece we did, one of the enslaved persons who is a housekeeper for Anne says, she's drinking the rum and she says, I drinking this because the book of Timothy said a little way for the stomach sake. All right.
Right. That's
So
fine.
I'm trying to understand the context and content that is permissible in a platform such as yours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that content is permissible and fine. If you have a series, then as I mentioned before, we can put that in there. If you had just a short, and say if we had 4 or 5 filmmakers that had a short, I would create a brand new page that simply said Caribbean Shorts. And then that way you plug them together and you obviously going to get more, I should say obviously, you're going to get more visibility because it's not just a one-off. People will go there and they'll watch one after the other, and they'll be able to piece them all together. And we can highlight that. Even in Chicago on Sunday mornings, is Sunday, I think it is, we have something called African American Shorts that comes on at like 8 a.m. And it's about 30 minutes or 40 minutes of just short films back to back to back. Some of them are only 5 minutes long. So we definitely want to have that. And I have a section called Shorts on our site as well.
Right. So Heather brought a very, very good point there, right? Guys, for those of you all who have podcasts, for those of you all who have series, for those of you all who have talk shows, right? Now you can go back to your sponsors and say, listen, beyond the Caribbean, I could now give you visibility in Chicago, hopefully Houston, and a new online. So now you could negotiate even better rates for advertising for your show, right? Because as I say, he's not going to stop you from bringing it in. Now you can take a package where you could be interviewed on Chicago TV, right? And you can put your sponsor into that. So what I'm saying to you is that this is an opportunity now for us to really take Caribbean brands to go really international, right? So I'm going to take a couple more questions. Roger, you have the time? Because I know you have to shoot.
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
right. But the thing about it is, guys, this is a lot of opportunity here for those of you all who have shows, for those of you all who thinking about shows. I want to, I'm going to engage you all in an opportunity for something else if you don't have a show currently. But what I'm saying is that now that you have the opportunity to say, okay, my show would be distributed in Chicago, distributed in Houston, be online, and we could actually put your product, during you could do their banner, right? A virtual banner for them while you're being interviewed. Those are huge opportunities for your sponsors. We have Regina Wiley. Yeah, Regina, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Trying to unmute. Good night, everyone. My name is Regina Wiley.
Oh, Regina, sorry.
Yes,
I apologize.
Thank you. And I'm from Nassau, Bahamas. I see I have a countryman in the group, Ramon Cunningham.
Okay.
I am the host, executive producer, and host of a television show called The Whole Woman. I wanted to find out, it's a show that's geared towards women that offer information. I interview doctors, lawyers, all that kind of stuff. We talk about makeup, clothing, shoes, hair, bag. It's a half-hour show. I'm a journalist by profession. I've been a journalist for over 20 years. My show has 12 commercials in the show. Is there a limit or anything for advertisement, or is that free for all?
No, there's no limit there. What I would suggest is you can go back, as Stephen mentioned, you can go back to those individuals and let them know that, hey, your commercial is already embedded in here. If you like, we can give this and you'll have an audience in Chicago and then give them the new rate for that.
Exactly.
Because
That's
I
it.
have we have a brand, somebody approached me with a brand new show. They're already on the radio here in Chicago, and their radio show now gets $60,000 in sponsorship money for just the radio. And they're like, hey, we want to put this on television now. And I said, hey, we can do that. I said, but when you go back to those sponsors, you need to offer them 3 times that now, minimum. If they're giving you, it was 6 individuals, 6 different companies giving them 10,000 each. So you need to go back, and it needs to be 3 times that to be on television.
What it does now is open a whole new opportunity for me with different businesses, and I have the team in place to be able to replace the commercials. So that's perfectly fine. I'm a veteran at this. I've learned how to turn my bedroom into a studio at the beginning and use my bedroom, and I slept in the front room to accomplish what I've accomplished. So
You're
Nice, man.
committed.
Yeah, for 20 years.
Okay. All right.
20 years.
So
Can you
Rosanna,
put the, sorry, Stephen, can you please put the number in the
okay.
chat? Because you didn't,
I
yeah,
didn't
because I
put it.
think I got it because I don't have it. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
let me put it again. All right. That's supposed to be it there. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you about getting the content to you for um Mr. Jackson.
Yeah. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to me.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Cool.
And it was nice meeting you, Mr. Jackson,
Nice
in
meeting you too.
visual form.
Virtually. All right. Anybody else? I'll take in one more before we go.
Singh, I think he had his hand up.
Who had his hand up?
Mahindra,
Mohindra had his hand up.
a little while ago, it disappeared now.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it, but
Yeah. Oh, you want to ask a question? Okay. I
can't
okay.
unmute.
You're not mute. You're on mute. All right. I represent Trinidad and Tobago. I used to be on radio before. Crystal and Charles. All right. So
Hi,
Crystal and
sorry.
uh-huh.
This is Mitch, the
Go ahead.
Mahindra.
Hey, Mitch, what's going
Can
on,
I go
buddy?
ahead or wait?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, it's not really a question. I just wanted to say that sorry that I didn't reach out to you before, Mr. Edwards, and good night, Mr. Jackson, and everybody else. I have been working on a project for some time now. It's called Speak Your Dreams. It's more motivational geared to the youths. And along the line, I stumbled because I don't have anything. I have no background in what I'm doing, but I was able to film 3 episodes so far. I was hoping to complete 10 before I put anything out, but that was the thing. I didn't know where I wanted to go, if it's YouTube or television, because I was supposed to do an interview with a news anchor, and they ended up talking to their people, and they wanted my show to be on station locally here. But I
Okay.
wasn't finished, and I still didn't know where this was going. So, Mr. Edwards, as I say, I'm sorry I didn't reach out to you before. I would appreciate any advice or any guidance along the line of where I would like to go.
Everything happens in its own time, brother, and you're
Yeah.
right time. So just yeah, right? Okay. Ramon. Ramon has his hand up. Ramon, I don't know if you're there. Okay. All right. While I'm waiting on Ramon, somebody said something in the chat. All of a sudden, Caribbean people can talk. Well, boy, I must have foreigners around me a little more.
Hey, Stephen, I see one in the chat I wanted to talk. I saw I filmed on my phone. What's the general quality for the episodes?
Yeah.
It honestly, phones aren't necessarily bad. I mean, Samsungs and iPhones film extremely good. It really comes down
Exactly.
to the person holding it. So again, we would have to see that. But just to answer you, Samuel, it really depends on the type of phone you had and used.
All right. Okay. Okay. I'm not getting Ramon, so I'm gonna just move him from Ramon. Okay. I think he put down his hand. All right. So guys, I want to talk to you. For those of you all who are looking for a podcast or want to know how to put up a podcast or things like that, one of the things that Rochelle has a question. Yeah, Rochelle, go ahead. Okay. Okay.
Hello, hello, good night. Um, I have stroke, so bear with me speaking.
Okay, no problem.
I have a podcast slash talk show, and it is about person journey to God, and I also push things for disability. My whole thing is to push hobbies, inter, inter,
Entertainment.
no, to push persons with disabilities to have their own businesses
Okay.
and do be more seen in the media and what I am doing, especially in the Caribbean, in Barbados, especially. I think I'm the only person who does things like this, doing talk shows and going around Barbados. I have 2 channels. So I was wondering, and I put everything on YouTube, but it's very hard to be seen, get
Mm.
the views. But my most of my views for the 2 channels are not in the Caribbean, it's the state in the UK. My views are out there. So I'm wondering how a show like mine, talking to different persons around the world and talking about their journey to God, inspirational stories and businesses. How can this be done? Because I record a lot on my laptop, and that quality might not be the best, and sometimes I record with a Canon cam card card
Ora.
art
Yeah.
camera, right? Canon camera.
Okay.
So I'm wondering how this can be, how what I will have to do, right, to get my
You want to take that?
my show on that platform.
That's
Thank
a
you.
good question, and it's not as difficult as you think. So you say the quality recording with the laptop, may not be the best, but it can be. But I'm a big proponent of control your narrative. If you control your narrative and you speak with confidence and you let people know this is my reality, this is what I'm doing, then they will watch it and support you.
Yes.
We would create an opening, or I would even do that for you. Just create an opening that says, this is who I am. And you can say, I'm an individual with this disability. This has happened. This is my show. And I want to show you, not just me, but other individuals and the challenges and also the praises and the highlights of what we have. Because I don't want you to, and I'm not speaking for you, but depending on what your show is about, like, listen, we want you to celebrate this. And when you say that with confidence, people will forgive a lot as far as quality of film. And that's why I mentioned with the cell phone and other things. I mean, the Blair Witch Project was shot with a cell phone and made millions of dollars. If you put something out there with confidence and you control your narrative, frankly, I don't think that between you and God, nothing is impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I will take one more. Ramon, I think your hand is up.
Hi, good night.
Hi, good night.
Good night. My name is Pearl Williams. I'm actually from Trinidad and Tobago. I, live in St. Vincent for the last 40 years. I have started my program, What's On, and that program, I literally travel to the different Caribbean islands, speaking with people, and I've done that successfully for 10 years. I also had my local program, What's On in St. Vincent. So, what is on, whether you're cooking, you're launching a book or whatever, right? So then I move on to Good Morning SVG, where we are speaking generally to everyone, all walk of life, what is happening, the development in St. Vincent, who is doing what, the launching of Carnival and all of that. So it's a general program that covers everything, but we focus more on empowerment, youth empowerment, and the criminal elements, what is plaguing the Caribbean. I feel right now there's a need, a need to highlight these topics because this is what trending in the region. where our young people have gone to a different culture that we at the generation, the present generation, can't seem to understand what is happening and what they are driven by. Lately, I was asked to join with the Village in New Jersey with Mr. Wall Street. I also was asked to join by CBN. I used to be the CBN program director in the British Virgin Islands. So, I would have reached out to different networks and what's not. And so they are asking now for that. I mean, if we are joining your network and what's not, are you facilitating people who are already on different platforms? I'm also representing Caribbean Media Broadcasting with all their marketing and so on in St. Vincent, looking for Caribbean media. I invited Mr. Ellis Briggs tonight to this program. I invited Miss Jackson from United States. If you're online, good evening or good night to you. Miss Jackson, or Miss Johnson, sorry, is one of the I think she's a producer. She worked for Michael Jackson in a legal capacity and was trying to tell the true story of Michael Jackson and asked me to be a part of their network. So I invited her on the program tonight. I invited actually about 5 people, and we are talking about 5 powerful people. So we'd like to know with this regard, she's telling the story, and they have 3 big investors at this time waiting for these people to bring the funds on the table. But it's a very big movie. What she indicated to me that the fact that she was there as one of Michael Jackson's assistant, and I also know that Steve Manning, who was his publicist and whatnot. So the story itself is going to be a real story, and that is the movie, right? So she's talking to Netflix at this time and trying to put her stuff together, but they give me the mandate to work along with their cast and their team. Would it be something that you guys are interested in to put on your network?
I'm honored to be in the voice of Netflix and Indie TV. Indie TV. Yes, definitely would love that conversation. And when talking with Netflix and this person, if from what I understand, already have a good idea of the process, what they're doing, and so not really a novice in this area. One benefit I will say with Indie TV, if possible, prior to Netflix, sometimes they don't allow certain distributions depending on what it is. However, being an independent film distribution company and our given size right now, it would be one of those things I think would be beneficial. Say, hey, we had it on Indie. Here's a bump. Here's our numbers. I know one person, because like I said, one show got picked up and went to Netflix from our network. If you have a show and say, hey, this is maybe our first for 90 days, maybe 100, maybe 4 months. We got 5,000 views, 10,000 views. They're like, well, wait a minute, before anybody else sees it, we want to buy it from you because that looks like it's trending up, from this thing that we had. But yeah, we would definitely be interested.
Okay. All right. Ramon? All right, Ramon, I asked her to meet you, so I don't know if you're having issues with your phone. All right, so guys, it is now, do you have a segment for, somebody wants to know if you have a segment for music videos, Roger?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, we have a page, and it's interesting, we have somebody starting a music talk show now in about maybe 2 months, but we do have a page we want to create for music videos. And I think that's a nice place to go because when you go to YouTube, which kind of is like the default, you can get lost in a lot of stuff. And I think by having a music video page, Caribbean page, is nice, and also it is very nuanced, and you kind of want that. You want to be lost in the ocean. It's nice to be the big fish in a pond, or at least a unique fish in a small pond.
Right.
And you also can drive traffic there. And frankly, I think it does something to somebody say, hey, I have distribution. If I go somewhere where I'm trying to build something up, to say I have distribution on Indie TV versus you can see my video on YouTube is different. Because then it says somebody looked at your work and made a decision, where YouTube doesn't really make any decisions. They post whatever. And of course, Twitter, we know, will put anything now that they've removed the entire department that monitors content. So it does bring a little weight when you tell somebody, I have distribution on this network.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take one very last one. Karen Paris. And if you're not showing your face, I'm not gonna I don't think. So Karen Paris. All right. Your hand is up. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. All right. Somebody put on the chat. You want to learn to do podcasts. All right. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to do at the end of the month, for those of you all who are interested in doing a podcast show and may not know how to do it, Roger and I will come together and we are going to do a challenge, right? And so basically at the end of 5 days, we are going to make sure that you have everything that is ready, all right, to do your podcast. I mean, for those of you all who are experienced and you all have your shows, that's fine. But I also invited persons who were novices, and a lot of people approached me and said, well, I just have this idea, right? So Roger and I would put together this challenge at the end of the month. It's going to be $100 US. And if you want the VIP, where we would actually be able to work with you and show you different things, right? For you personally, right? We have a VIP for $300 US. If that is something that interests you, you have my number in there, right? You can get in contact with me and we will take it from there. Because at the end of the day, my goal, and for any of y'all, for some of y'all, this is the first time you're meeting me, but anybody who knows me, right, my real goal is really to get Caribbean content out there and to be able to compete at an international level so that the Caribbean, because guys, everybody that you know from the States like something about us. They like something about the way that we cook. When we go to the States, they say, talk now, let me hear you talk now, right? So if that's the case, why aren't we really taking our culture and, presenting it in a way that is digestible? We have a situation, and I mean, Roger is my good friend. I've nothing against Americans at all. But look at how many of our children talking with the Disney accent. Why it is we can have some American children now talking, with some Trini and Bajan and Bahamas accent?
I
Yeah,
would love that.
yeah, exactly,
I'm gonna send my wife there for about 6 months.
exactly.
She can come back, Roger, man. Yeah, baby.
So guys, this was Making Moves. All right, you have my numbers for those of you all who are watching the stream on Facebook. You can WhatsApp me at 1-868-763-6603. And you can check out the Facebook page. I will have the YouTube channel so that in the event that you want to share this with anybody to talk about what we discussed tonight, all right, you can share it and it will be up on the YouTube page by this evening. And you can check out some of the other episodes because I'm bringing a lot of opportunities for persons in the Caribbean. So Roger, any last parting words?
The biggest thing I want to say to everybody is twofold: stay focused. Really, being unfocused is the biggest deterrent to success. A lot of people have a lot of reasons, a lot of excuses, but the more focused you are, then the more in line you are with your success. And the second thing is, because it comes up with being discouraged, whether it be podcast or filmmaking, we all have these ups and downs. If it didn't make you, it can't break you. It's as simple as that. So focus on what it is you want. I'm a big proponent of writing it down. I have about 15 notebooks around me because I write down things all the time. Because once it's written down, write the vision and make it plain. And that is pretty much what I try to live by. So just do that, and don't set any limits. And the last thing I'll say, and I used to say this as a kid all the time about my teen years, is people like the sky's the limit. I'm like, don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are footprints on the moon. There are no limits. Focus, focus, focus.
All right, guys, you heard from the man himself. Take care. God bless you. And, guys, hit us up. The Caribbean is coming to Chicago.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.